How many of us are always comparing ourselves with people around us? But do you know a secret? When we compare, we really don't compare the right combination. We often end up comparing oranges with apples. In today's video, I'm not asking you to stop comparing, but I'm telling you while comparing, compare the right combinations. Hey folks, welcome to CSK Speaks. I am CSK, your personal coach, and you're watching me on my channel. Now before I get started, I want you to like this channel and also subscribe so that you get notifications regularly. If you go back on the wall of the YouTube channel of CSK Speaks, you see videos ranging from different genres, from education to citizenship to leadership, and especially for youth empowerment. And I do this only because of my passion to enable today's youth to get 10x or multiple x results from time-tested and practical tools and techniques. So do me a favor, like and subscribe that particular channel, and even better, share it with your friends and family so that let all of us gain from this wisdom. All right, before that, let's get back to today's video. As I began, I said comparison is very critical and very incidental to all of us and our lives. There's nothing wrong in comparing because that is human nature. We end up comparing with one another pretty often. But when we compare, let's take a pause, in fact a step back, to ask, are we comparing the right combination? And when I say the right combination, go back to your school days, match the following. Are we matching before comparing? Because today, very common is we end up comparing oranges with apples, and then it causes heartburns and a lot of other unnecessary emotions. So I thought, let's talk about that topic in today's conversation. Let's discuss, if comparison is here to stay, then how am I empowered and equipped to handle it? And that's the very reason I bring today this video. Now, let's take the example, or let's take an anecdote, a story, and then understand when I really say don't compare the wrong combinations, what do I mean? So it seems there was this park, and there was this family who went on for a walk in the park. So there was a young man who had a little baby, maybe a 5-year-old girl, and he took her for a good evening walk in the park. And when they were around, as you can imagine, the park was filled with different people. There were joggers who were coming out for an evening run. There were young couples who were enjoying that slow, lazy evening in the sunlight and the wind and having good time with one another. There were families who were out for picnics with grandparents and relatives, and they were all sharing snacks and eatables and playing some games and having some fun. There were photographers who were capturing nature and keeping them intact in their cameras. There were security personnel, there were vendors, and there were also balloon sellers. Now, when all of these people were making the scene at the park, the young girl looked at that balloon seller. She looked at that balloon seller giving away balloons to a bunch of young kids, and each one of them were excited to receive that balloon because somebody in their family decided to gift these young kids bunch of balloons. So as they were collecting their balloons, of course, as you can imagine, they were of different colors: orange, red, purple, pink, yellow, and even black. and white. So when they were getting away their balloons and they were enjoying, this kid couldn't stop but call the father to look at that scene. And she did not stop there. She asked the dad that, why don't you also get me another balloon? Dad said, fine, let's go there and let's walk and buy you a balloon. As it is, he was there with the girl to spend that evening in the park. So he wanted to make his daughter happy and get her whatever she wanted. As they started approaching the balloon seller, this balloon seller was almost running out of his stock. There were a bunch of kids and some of them were trying to take a couple of more balloons for themselves. So they went. This girl started asking the father to speed up his pace so that she does not lose out on the stock of the balloon. By the time they reached there, almost all the balloons were exhausted but for one balloon, and that is the black balloon. Father did not even pay attention to the color of the balloon. All he wanted was he wanted to get a balloon to the daughter, and he was very happy that he finally got hold of one balloon at least. But the daughter was not really very happy. She wanted a bright color, but unfortunately she had to make peace with a black balloon. Anyway, she could not argue much, so she got that particular balloon and she was coming back. Now the father thought that the evening is almost over. He has done his job as a good father, and he went on to the bench, sat there and pulled out his mobile phone, and he was busy scrolling something on his mobile phone. The girl was not able to digest the fact that she had to settle down with a black balloon, but nevertheless accompanied the father, sat next to him on the bench and was gazing or staring at that bunch of kids who took away all those colorful balloons. And when they took away all those colorful balloons, they took away part of her happiness as well. So she was sitting there and watching, and these bunch of kids, they were playing with the balloons, and suddenly one of the kids there released the balloon to play and to pop it up in the sky, and that's when they realized that this balloon is not going to come back. That balloon which was released by that young boy went high and high and high up in the air, never to come back. Watching at that particular scene, the other kids who were playing with that particular boy started releasing their balloons, and every other balloon started following the first balloon, which was pink in color. So every balloon started following the pink balloon. Before anybody could imagine, all of them in the park had turned their necks towards the sky to watch the series of balloons going high up in the air. This girl tried to disrupt the father's attention from the phone and turned his attention towards the sky, where she showed all those balloons flying high up in the air. Father looked at the sky, smiled, and then caressed the hair of this young girl and said, well, there you go. They all have lost their balloons and you have your balloon. Now you can smile. Which goes to say that the father did notice that the girl was not very happy that she got a black one. But now the girl has another issue on her mind. She wants to let go of her black balloon to catch up with all those balloons which were going up. So she stood up, she went right in front of the dad, jumped high in the air a couple of times, and then left her balloon, hoping that this black balloon will catch up with the rest of the balloons, and in fact catch up with the pink balloon which went first. But unfortunately, this black balloon did not even go up a notch. It fell to the knee and finally to the ground, only to disappoint the young kid. Father was there, he didn't know what to do, and this was a new issue for him to handle, or a new challenge to encounter. So he took the balloon, using his height as an advantage, left the balloon high up. Again, that black balloon fell down and hit the ground. Now the girl couldn't help but start crying. She was hoping that this balloon will go high up, and forget about going high up, it is not ready to go even an inch higher than what she left. Father consoled her, tried his best to distract her, and finally had to take refuge in an ice cream cone to make her comfortable and take her back home. But on his way back home, a thought struck the dad, and he stopped the car, and as the girl was forgetting her sorrows in that ice cream cone, Dad interrupted her and asked, "Why do you think your balloon hit the ground while other balloons went high up in the air?" Daughter was least interested to give an answer to this particular question, but out of courtesy, and the dad had stopped the car, so she said, "Well, I don't know, and in fact, that's your fault. You got me the last balloon and that's why it did not take off." Father said, "Well, think about it. Think about it. Is there any other reason apart from my fault that your balloon did not go up?" Daughter immediately came back with an answer and said, "Of course, mine was a black balloon. Black is a bad color. Why will the black balloon go up? They were so bright and colorful, the yellow, the purple, the pink and the orange. That's why they went up and my black balloon hit the ground." Father said, this is the answer what he was looking for. And then he continued and said, "Well, you're wrong. Both times you're wrong. Number one, not because you got the last balloon that it did not fly. Number two, not because you got the black balloon that it did not fly. The correct answer, in fact, the truth is, it really does not matter whether your balloon is the first or the last, or whether it is black or pink. What matters is what is inside the balloon, which takes it high up or to the ground." Daughter did not understand. She immediately gulped the last piece of the ice cream which was there in her hand and said, "What do you mean by this?" And there he goes on to explain that all the other color balloons were filled with hydrogen, and the other one, the black one, was filled with the carbon dioxide, and that's why it was heavier than the air and it fell down. So the science part was taken care. Daughter was least interested. Then the father decoded and said, "Remember, just like the balloon, it does not matter which color it is having on the surface. What matters is what is deep inside the balloon." That balloon seller had run out of gas when he was giving the last balloon to the daughter, so he just blew it up and then tied it and gave her. He wanted to make a sale, but with that sale, the daughter brought back hope, ambition, aspiration, wish. And then as the story unfolded, you understood that it ended up being a heart-burning or a disappointing story. Well, that's the story which I want to tell you to bring your attention to the context of when we are comparing, let's compare the right combination. Did the child compare what is inside the balloon to what is inside her balloon? Then it's a great combination to compare. But like the child, we all end up comparing what is seen and not worrying about what is unseen. I mean, look at this. Let's go back and decode the story step by step. She wanted the balloon just because a bunch of kids want those balloons or were buying those balloons, and so are we. We want everything in our life not because we understand why do we want it. We want it because we saw somebody holding it, having it and using it. And second, we want to do what others are doing. She bought the balloon a minute ago to keep it, but she saw kids leaving away in the sky and she decided to leave the balloon away in the sky. So is the case. As they say, when you don't know why are you doing what you're doing, you end up doing anything anyway. And last, when this balloon hit the ground instead of going up in the sky, the girl compared and said, "This is colored black and that's why it did not fly." How superficial. Our life has become so superficial that we end up comparing and blaming and passing the buck just because our assumptions are the only thing that matter to us. So friends, if you have got something out of this story, remember to see deep inside the balloon, or rather, even better, remember to see deep inside yourself. Because when you are comparing yourself with others or your kids with other kids, don't compare them for the superficial nature. Don't compare them for the external surface. Compare them for what is inside. That's what I mean by comparing for the right combinations. So continue to compare, but compare with the right combinations. And this is universally applicable. Whether you're doing it with your children, whether you're doing it with your colleagues, whether you're doing it with your organizations, your business ideas, your money status or your wealth status, your health, your careers, your relationships, your life. It works. Thank you very much for watching me on CSK Speaks. Continue to connect with us and let's make this place a better place to live.